Imagine you are hungry, not modern hungry, not I forgot to eat lunch hungry, ancient hungry, the kind of hunger where there is no store nearby, no kitchen, no label on a package, no doctor waiting somewhere if you make a mistake, no internet search, no list of safe plants, no one to tell you which berry is harmless and which berry might kill you. Just you, a forest, a handful of strange fruit, and one question. Can I eat this? That question sounds simple now. Today, food arrives already filtered through thousands of years of human knowledge. Someone else has tested it, someone else has named it, someone else has grown it, cooked it, inspected it, packaged it, and placed it in front of you as if eating were the most ordinary thing in the world. But for most of human history, eating was not ordinary. Eating was a negotiation with danger. The world was full of things that looked like food. Bright berries, soft mushrooms, sweet-smelling leaves, roots hidden under the ground, seeds that looked harmless, animals that seemed easy to catch. But nature does not come with warning labels. A berry does not tell you it is poisonous. A mushroom does not explain what it will do to your body. A root does not politely warn you that one part is edible and another part is dangerous. Some poisonous things look beautiful. Some poisonous things smell normal. Some poisonous things taste almost harmless. And some safe things look strange, ugly, bitter, or dangerous. So how did ancient humans know? How did people with no laboratories, no chemistry, no written guides, and no modern medicine figure out what could be eaten and what should be avoided? The easiest answer is trial and error. Someone tried it. If they lived, it was food. If they died, it was poison. But that answer is too simple, and it makes ancient people sound stupid. They were not stupid. They were not wandering through the forest eating every colorful object they could find. If humans had done that, humans would not have survived long enough to become us. Ancient people were careful because carelessness had a price. They learned by watching. They learned by remembering. They learned by copying. They learned by testing tiny amounts. They learned by listening to older people. They learned by noticing patterns. And sometimes, yes, they learned through pain. But the process was not random. It was slow. It was cautious. And it was collective. The first clue was observation. Ancient humans watched nature much more closely than modern people do. They watched birds. They watched monkeys. They watched deer. They watched insects. They watched what animals ate repeatedly. They watched what animals avoided. If birds kept returning to the same tree and eating the same fruit, that mattered. If deer ignored a certain plant again and again, that mattered too. Animal behavior did not prove something was safe. That is important. A bird can eat something that would hurt a human. A deer can digest plants that would make a person sick. Some animals have bodies that handle toxins differently from ours. So ancient humans could not simply say, the animal ate it, so I can eat it. But animal behavior was a clue. One clue among many. If animals ate something and survived, humans might examine it more closely. If every animal avoided it, humans might treat it with suspicion. That was not science in the modern laboratory sense, but it was observation. And observation is where science begins. The second clue was the human body itself. Taste mattered, smell mattered, texture mattered, the reaction of the mouth mattered. Many toxic plants are bitter, not all of them. But enough that bitterness became suspicious. A bitter taste does not automatically mean poison. But to a hungry ancient person, bitterness was not meaningless. It was a signal. A plant that burned the mouth was suspicious. A root that made the tongue numb was suspicious. A fruit that made the stomach twist was remembered. Smell was another clue. Rotten meat smelled wrong. Spoiled plants smelled wrong. Certain dangerous substances smelled strange, sharp, or unpleasant. Again, smell was not perfect. Some dangerous things smell fine. Some safe foods smell terrible before preparation. But the human body was constantly collecting information. The nose, the tongue, the stomach, the skin. The memory of discomfort. Ancient humans did not need chemical formulas to notice that certain experiences repeated themselves. Eat this leaf, feel sick. Eat this root raw, feel pain. Cook the same root, feel fine. Eat these berries by the river, someone vomits. Eat those berries from the higher trees, nothing happens. Over time, the body became a recording device, and the group became the archive. That is the third clue, memory. A single person can make a mistake. A group can remember it. That difference matters. One ancient person might not understand why a plant was dangerous. They would not know the toxin. They would not know the chemical structure. They would not know what was happening inside the liver, the stomach, or the nervous system. But they could know what happened last time. They could remember the red berries near the river. They could remember the mushroom under the dead tree. They could remember the root that caused pain unless it was cooked. They could remember the leaves that made someone dizzy. They could remember the animal that looked healthy after eating one fruit but avoided another. And once the group remembered, the memory became a warning. The warning became a rule. The rule became tradition. And after enough generations, tradition started to look like instinct. A child did not need to understand poison. The child only needed to hear, "We do not eat that." And that sentence could save a life. This is why elders mattered so much. An elder was not just an old person. An elder was a library that could walk. Before writing, before books, before formal science, survival knowledge lived inside people. An elder knew where food grew. They knew which plants appeared after rain. They knew which fruits were safe only when ripe. They knew which roots had to be cooked. They knew which animals were risky in certain seasons. They knew which parts of a plant were useful and which parts were not. They knew the stories behind the rules. To a child, some of those rules might have sounded strange. Do not eat those berries. Do not touch that plant. Do not pick that mushroom after rain. Do not eat that root raw. Do not drink from that place. A child might not understand the reason, but the rule was not arbitrary. It existed because someone, somewhere, had paid for the knowledge. That is the uncomfortable part. Ancient knowledge had a cost. Every safe food has a history. Someone had to learn that one plant was useful. Someone had to learn that another was dangerous. Someone had to learn that some foods were safe in small amounts but dangerous in large amounts. Someone had to learn that some foods were poisonous raw but safe after cooking. Someone had to learn that one part of a plant could feed you while another part could harm you. And sometimes the person who learned the lesson did not survive it. That sounds brutal, but survival has always been brutal. Human knowledge is not made only of genius. It is made of mistakes. Some mistakes were small: a stomachache, a fever, a bad night, a lesson remembered. Other mistakes were final. Someone ate the wrong thing. The group watched what happened, and the world became slightly less mysterious for everyone who survived. That does not mean ancient people were careless. It means knowledge accumulates through consequences. One danger at a time, one meal at a time, one warning at a time. Over generations, the forest became less random. Not because the forest changed, but because humans learned how to read it. Then came fire. Fire changed everything. Cooking did not just make food taste better. It made many foods safer. It killed parasites. It softened roots. It broke down some toxins. It made tough foods easier to digest. It turned things that were difficult, risky, or nearly useless into things humans could actually live on. But even cooking required knowledge. How long should something cook? Should it be boiled, roasted, dried, pounded? Was the skin safe? Was the seed safe? Was the root safe only after being soaked? Was the plant safe in one season and dangerous in another? These details matter. Food knowledge was not simply, this is edible, this is poisonous. Often it was more complicated. This is edible if cooked. This is edible if ripe. This is edible if you remove this part. This is edible only in small amounts. This is edible for adults, but not for children. This is safe most of the year, but not now. That kind of knowledge cannot be discovered in a single moment. It has to be accumulated, tested, repeated, corrected, passed on. This is how culture forms. Culture is not just songs, clothing, rituals, and stories. Culture is also survival memory. It is the invisible library of what a group has learned not to do. A recipe can be a memory of danger. A taboo can be a memory of sickness. A ritual can be a way of making sure a food is prepared correctly every time. A story can be a warning disguised as entertainment. A disgust reaction can be inherited training. A parent pulling a child's hand away from a plant is culture. It is knowledge moving from one generation to another. Modern people often think of food as personal choice. What do I want to eat? What tastes good? What fits my diet? What is convenient? But ancient humans experienced food differently. Food was trust in your senses, trust in your group, trust in elders, trust in memory. Trust in fire, trust in the dead. Because some of the people who taught humanity what was poisonous did not teach it with words. They taught it by becoming the warning. That is a dark thought. But it is also why human survival is so impressive. Humans did not survive because they were the strongest animal. They were not. They did not survive because every individual knew everything. They did not. They survived because knowledge could outlive the person who discovered it. One person noticed, another remembered. Another warned a child. Another changed how the food was cooked. Another watched the birds. Another avoided the mushroom. Another survived the stomachache. Another did not. And slowly, danger became knowledge. Knowledge became tradition. Tradition became culture. And culture became the quiet confidence of knowing what to eat. So how did ancient humans know what was poisonous? They did not know all at once. They learned slowly. They watched animals. They watched plants. They watched each other. They tasted carefully. They smelled cautiously. They cooked. They remembered pain. They listened to elders. They turned accidents into rules. They turned rules into traditions. And they passed those traditions down until survival looked like common sense. That is why the food on your plate is not just food. It is inherited survival. Every safe bite carries the memory of people who had to ask the question before you, can I eat this? And somewhere, thousands of years ago, someone was brave enough, desperate enough, or unlucky enough to find out.